Hey everyone, this is Rob, the Puget Sound outdoor lighting guy. Have I got a treat for you? If you've been part of any of my consultations, we always talk about lighting design. We talk about how important it is to move that dark wall in your backyard as far back as possible. I'm going to dig into it a little bit deeper with my guest and friend, Dr. Joe Crisanti. Dr. Joe is probably one of the best brain health experts I know in the area. And I think going in and trying to unpack the science behind moving that wall back and proper lighting is going to be something that's going to be very interesting and very cool to dig into. I can't think of anybody better to help me with this than Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe, give us a little bit of background on you and how you got into the whole brain health thing.
I really started to dig into helping people during the pandemic. We were fortunate enough to be able to stay open and we were considered essential. And one of the things that I saw with people, not only were they struggling with things with their spine and injuries, my normal things, but they were struggling with stress.
Oh, yeah.
And I decided that during the pandemic, hey, I better start doing something to help people with stress too. If I'm going to stay open, I really need to be a service to people. So I did a deep dive. I spent a year studying things like how to help people sleep better, how to help them manage stress, decrease stress in their lives, and physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress, chemical stress, and environmental stress. So when we're talking about this idea, I'm like, environmental stress, when your home or your outside environment isn't set up correctly, or it's too stimulating, you're going to have a hard time coming down from stress.
Oh, absolutely. And I know we collect a lot of stress throughout the day. Our jobs, our family, just day-to-day life,
unavoidable,
right? That type of stuff. And I always find that when I talk to clients, it's very difficult for them to let go of that stress. So how do you key off on that when you're talking to your clients that they're carrying a significant amount of stress? And how do you kind of quantify that to kind of help them through this process?
I'm lucky enough, I have some technology here that assesses people's stress level response. So basically we baseline 7 different physiologic parameters, and then we take them through different stressors, a mental stress where we have people basically do a math test, and then we have an emotional stress, or basically sounds that you listen to. And some of these emotional triggers, they're there whether or not you acknowledge it. So one of the things that is on that exam is there's a dog barking. And when I was a kid, I was attacked by a dog. So every time I would hear that, I have a response to it, even though we're talking it's a lifetime ago, but my brain still remembers it, right? So we assess things like that. We do a physical stressor too. Can you control your breathing? Can you control your heart rate? And so all these are easy things to do. You should be able to do them. And when people are overstressed, they struggle. Either they don't identify the stressors or they have a hyper reaction to the stressors and they can't come out of being stressed. And so that gives us a window into what types of interventions are going to help. Maybe I don't do all the things that people need, but then we start the conversations, right? And we start the stress type of care.
When we were talking about this, you explained it very simply. And you said, hey, stress is normal. Your body's reaction to stress is you should go from an unstressed state to a stress state and then back to an unstressed state. Yeah. And then what you explained to me is because of the day-to-day stresses, people end up going from a stress state to a more stressed state to back to a stress state. They never get to that unstressed state, which is not good for your brain and certainly not good for your body.
No, absolutely. You're throwing all of your internal chemistry off. You're wearing your system out, being in fight or flight so much. And we don't realize how often we're doing it, but you start your day with some coffee, that's a stimulant that gets you going. But you get into the car and get into traffic, that gets you going. You have a stressful meeting or a stressful email, that keeps you going. And then you eat some food that maybe isn't that great for you. That can stress you too.
Absolutely.
It's chemical stress in the body. And it goes on and on. You sit all day. That's a physical stressor. You're not moving, right? To dissipate some of the stress. And then you get home, watch the news, that
more stress.
You screen time, that's more stress too, or it keeps you alert. And we'll talk more about wavelengths of light in a second. But people are just running for too long and they're never coming back down from the stress state.
And one of the things that my clients tell me is after we do a backyard or an outdoor lighting system, there are 2 things they tell me. Number one, they wish they would have done it sooner. And then their backyard becomes their sanctuary, whether they're outside in it or whether they're just looking at it through the back windows or something like that. So I thought it'd be perfect for us to kind of dig into this science of sanctuary a little bit, kind of define it, kind of understand what some of the parameters are, and understand what you can do both from a physiological and a brain health standpoint, and how I can help you with a lighting standpoint. I think a good place to start is probably to talk about the back of the house where we all live. In the back of the house is you've got your living room, your dining room, you've got your kitchen. At night, those windows become this black mirror.
Yeah.
Black mirrors, I don't know if anybody's ever stared into a black mirror, it is very disturbing. And if you don't have anything on the other side of that black mirror, that black wall, that's going to elicit a stress response. Is that true?
It could, or you just never relax because you stay in alert mode, right? So when you first told me about the black mirror, I'd be like looking into a cave. Do I feel like relaxing? Oh, I'm going to settle down, and maybe there's something out there.
Yeah, and that's maybe a very basic instinct.
Maybe there isn't. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're talking genetic programming, right? Survival mechanisms that have been imprinted on our DNA.
Yep.
And so the good news is there's also things imprinted to help us relax.
Exactly. I had one client tell me that after we finished their backyard lighting, their perceived living space goes all the way out to the edge of the farthest light.
Yeah.
So instead of them feeling like they're in a small 16-foot living room, they feel like they're in this big space that's well lit, and they feel like they can relax because they can see a threat at a distance and have a chance to essentially respond to it.
That's great.
And I think that's awesome. Trying to get rid of that black mirror, adding some depth and some light to your backyard so you feel safer, you're in a big space.
And you come out of the beta wave.
Super important.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's walk outside. So now you walk outside and you're seeing a yard. Having that yard lit up and you have essentially your perimeter lit up while you're out there, how does that make you feel? What's the brain response that you're going to get from that?
This is where you got to have somebody like you who knows what they're doing. Now, somebody who's just winging it, maybe they're like, hey, I can go to Home Depot, buy this fluorescent spot. I'll light up my whole yard. Yes. If that light is coming from above and it's a lot of that blue light, you're still going to be stressed. That's going to keep your cortisol high. Your brain's still interpreting that as almost like sunlight, right? Like somebody like you get the light low and you get the right wavelength. We always say amber is the magic color for helping you decrease that cortisol, come out of alert mode, and we start to stimulate the campfire effect, right? Where traditionally we were safe by fires. You set a fire, we'd cook by it, you have community by it, but it was your primary safety. And so our brains will naturally start to relax, and the randomness of the flames and helps us get into that alpha state, which is almost like a meditative state.
Oh, yeah.
And the crackles of the sound helps you relax. And there's so many things that I call naturally right about that type of lighting. And it's not really bright, but you can see.
You've touched on 3 or 4 very specific things I think we want to dig into. I think number one, making sure that you really define that outdoor space, that you've got light from the left to the right, the front to the back, the top to the bottom. Plus you've got some depth, some lights low, closer to you, some farther away, just kind of create that volume. Super important because your body's going to pick up on that lighting design.
Yeah, too much light, you don't settle down.
Exactly. Your body's just going to inherently see that, feel comfortable, feel around it. It's like looking at a beautiful picture, right? You can look at a beautiful picture or a beautiful scene if you're traveling, the Grand Canyon. You could stare at it forever because you're just appreciating the design. So I think that was one big thing that you mentioned. The other thing you touched on was color temperature. So we typically use around here, we use a color temperature of 2700 K, which is just above an amber, which is 2200 K. You talked about the bright floodlights. Those are typically like 5000 K. So biasing more towards the warm temperatures for the backyard lighting, what I'm hearing from you makes you feel more comfortable, more relaxed than throwing a blue, white, or bright white light.
This is not my opinion either. This is well established now in the literature. So yeah, if people want to do a deep dive on this, it's everybody knows it.
So based from what you told me, that blue light stops melatonin production. So that's probably why a lot of doctors say stop the screen time before you go to sleep. Keeps you awake.
If you want to stay awake, I would have blue lights. People that work at night, that's the kind of light I'd have.
It's
So
kind of
I would stay awake.
It's a stimulant,
Yeah.
essentially. Right?
But
So,
if you don't want to stay awake, I would really get away from it.
or if you're trying to calm your brain down,
Same thing.
you want to
right?
dial everything down. So
Yeah.
a nice, well-lit sanctuary in
Yeah.
the backyard with a warm light versus kind of the bright light. Those are some of the key important things.
Yeah, we don't want to be interrogated in our sanctuary.
Prison lighting is good for prisons, not good for backyard. I hear that quite a bit.
Relax.
So awesome. So we've got it lit. We've got the backyard lit up. We've got the right color temperature in there. So your brain's starting to calm down. Your threat assessment is reducing. The amber colors is kind of going to help you calm down and relax. So you feel like you need to sleep. Your body's saying, calm down. It's not saying get up, get going like a bright light.
Yeah.
What about changing the intensity of the light over time? What about zoning or dimming or doing stuff like that?
This is where you could really have some fun with it too. So now that if you start to understand the wavelengths of light and intensity, you could use that to your advantage. You could use it to settle your brain down. So, okay, I'm going to tell my brain it's time to start to relax, and add a couple of routines with that. And the flip side is true. Let's say you have to get going early in the morning. Shoot, maybe you put all your lights on a timer. Yeah. And so when you come out, maybe the sun's not up, like in the Northwest. Some days we leave when it's dark, but you could have your outdoor lighting kind of priming the pump and getting ready.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about the lighting technology nowadays is you can actually go in and do what we call zoning, where you can have some lights on and some lights off.
Yeah.
You can actively dim them. In the evening, if you're having friends over or something, you can have it nice and bright and lively. You can have it start to calm down and lower the intensity of the light. Maybe turn off some of the trees and keep path lights going to trying to go to sleep. But I love your idea of doing it on the other side, bringing the lights up essentially early when the sun's coming up. Start brightening everything up. Your body's going to feel that inherent. And it's almost going to be a natural alarm clock. Yeah. Just like the light alarm clocks. Right?
Yeah. With all the technology now, I think why not take advantage of it?
Awesome.
And then have somebody who knows what they're doing with it help you and get it just right.
Yeah. And I think that's the hard part, right? Just because you can put lights on something doesn't mean you necessarily should put lights on something. So it takes a little bit of a...
I've shown you my neighbor's house. Right? It looks like Las Vegas. It's not a sanctuary. Yes.
It is not a sanctuary. No, I absolutely agree with that. Let me ask a tangential question, right? So you're in the back, you've got your lights going, you're figuring out how to zone them and dim them so that they're kind of helping your circadian rhythm, so to speak. What about introducing something else like sound to the equation?
Yeah, totally. It's the way to go. We experience the world through all of our senses. Yeah, sound. Oh man, if you could add smell to it, maybe sip on a cup of tea where you have to have all that going at the same time. I think it's brilliant. So if you can't have fires, one of the things you can do is have a fountain. And the thing about the flickering now with all the new bulbs and technology, you can get that effect. And maybe you can't have a fountain either, but you can find a way to stimulate some of these old genetic reflexes we really have. Yeah.
And so that's interesting. So in addition to having a static, well-lit scene, you're saying having some active variability.
Yeah.
Like a campfire.
Yeah.
The campfire, same thing. Lights are flickering and changing. Idea. A fountain, the lights are changing or something like that. So introducing
it's not
that variability.
But it's
some kind of a random
of
input, right? So how does that random light input, how does that affect your brain? What does it do to your brain?
It's easier to get into the alpha state, and that's our meditative state, or in sports, people will call it the zone. When you're in the zone, easier to concentrate and focus. Maybe I like to just zone out and think and clear your head and do problems while you're sitting by the fire, and sometimes not think about anything. And same thing. It's
campfire time.
It's easier to kind of rein in your brain when you're not always looking for threats or trying to perceive threat.
So it's like the variation in lighting is almost like a visual massage for your brain, just kind of causing you to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And then what about the sound aspect? Layering sound on top of that. What's the right sound? What's a good sound? What's that?
I think it's probably different for everybody. I think the crackle of a fire is going to be universal. I think the bubbling of a fountain, almost like a stream, I think would be universal for people too. But after that, maybe you have people that like birds. Yeah, you could have environmental noises and stuff like
frogs, crickets, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just that nice sound. So all of those things are what I'm hearing is getting the environment, getting outside, having a little bit of variation essentially in the light input, and then layering on top of it some sounds and natural sounds. All of that stuff just is additive and feeds into your brain to a certain extent where it starts to drop everything down.
Yeah. And a lot of people want to try to simulate this inside. And to an extent, you can get some of the benefits, but it's nothing like being outside.
Yeah.
Outside takes it to the next level and is just really, again, naturally, there's a huge difference.
I have one client that they were talking about, their backyard looks great. It's nice to be outside, to enjoy it in the summer, but they like it even more in the winter because when it starts getting dark at 4:00, their backyard lights come on and they don't feel like they're trying to tough it through the big dark.
Yeah.
And then they even tell me, they go, even seeing the rain on the branches and the trees does what you're talking about. It gives you that dynamic lighting effect, right?
Yeah.
Whether the lights, you're out and enjoying it, or you have to stay inside, you can still enjoy it. To your point, adding a melodic, some sort of a good frequency or something, just to chill and do it. You just enjoy this pretty much all year round.
Yeah. You should get ready, get a crew up in Alaska because you're going to be busy.
Yeah. I'll have to record some ice cracking, snowfall.
People are people, right? There are certain things that they're soothing to us. Nice warm blanket, a warm beverage, and those type of sounds. It triggers things that are just inside us, right?
I wonder what the visual equivalent of a cup of cocoa is.
I don't know.
We'll have to figure that one out. We'll have to practice.
Next episode.
We'll have to practice and figure that one out. Awesome. I like how we dug into the science of sanctuary here, right? We went in and said, hey, we're all noticing something when we experience the outside, we experience the lights and the sounds. What's behind it? And I like how tying it back into the brain health and the stress, because I know, to your point, ever since COVID, we've probably just been carrying a lot of stress around. COVID, work from home, there's all sorts of issues with the environment, all sorts of issues with the economy, jobs and stuff like that, right? So there's not much out there that's forcing us to essentially calm down and really work on the brain. We even go to the gym, but if you're stressed and you go to the gym, that's not necessarily a good thing, right?
The gym is supposed to be stimulating too.
Yeah.
They're doing what they do on purpose with the level of the music, with the way things are organized, the colors that are used inside the gym. It is all thought out.
But it's not relaxing per se.
No, it's not supposed to be. And one of my final thoughts is if you don't start to get in the driver's seat of managing your stress, it is like driving a car without brakes. You're just going to keep going faster. And we're seeing more and more problems from just chronic stress, right? Pain, early, there's all kinds of things that are happening to people because we're just stressed for too long.
Yeah.
And it's happening. Things that we used to see in the 70s are happening in the 50s and 60s.
50s and 60s. Yeah.
And every doctor needs to be doing something about stress.
That's, and Joe, that's one of the things I love about you is you're so far ahead of the curve thinking about this, trying to understand what some of the inputs and the parameters and causes of this, and then getting in front of it, right? So you're seeing your clients and they typically are going to have mechanical issues, but the fact that you can take a look at the brain stuff and see how much the brain is a contributor to this or is an important part of the healing process. That's absolutely why I wanted to have this session where we could sit there and talk about it. Awesome. Final thoughts. Again, if you are interested in really designing and executing on that outdoor sanctuary, reach out to us at Outdoor Lighting Perspectives. We're going to come and take the time with you, understand what it is that you want at the end, and we're going to be able to put it together. If you're looking for a way to get rid of some of that brain stress, Dr. Joe is probably your first step. He's going to come in, he's going to do a baseline evaluation. He's going to help you understand where you are in that stress cycle. You've got some very good therapies to help alleviate that and reduce that.
We always teach chiropractic is not a back thing, it's a brain thing.
It's a brain thing.
So we can help decrease your stress in a lot of different ways.
Awesome.
Give me a call and let's find out if we can help.
Awesome. You absolutely will be able to help. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a great topic for us to dig into. Tune in next month when we go a little bit deeper on this, and we've got some new, exciting things to talk about. Till that time, have a great day.